When I first met William, I had already been working for Tomas, and did so afterwards for months. What did you have for me tonight? The room was dark, except for a pool of amber from the expensive Tiffany lamp spilled across the old polished wood of the desk. Tomas sits half in shadow and half in light. Even sharper. Oh, it makes his gaunt face seem even sharper. I push the folder across the desk and Tomas takes it, flipping through to skim notes and look at the photographs I've taken. But I know he'll want to give me to give him a summary too. I recite, quickly. Andras Kirtas, a phlebotomist at the St. Rokas Hospital. He's addicted to painkillers and having trouble getting his fix. They've locked down the supply. I've probably noticed someone was skimming. Feed him what he needs, he'll get you the blood bags and won't ask questions. Well done. If all else fails, we can always employ the oldest leverage of all, blackmail. St. Rokas isn't within my domain, but if the deals happen to take place here, well, he's pleased with this loophole. He finds a lot of those, talks about working within the system to get things done. I hardly understand the rules he plays by, let alone how to bend them. When it comes to me, I figured out he's breaking them. Tomas leans forward. His craggy face moves from half shadow into full light, like moon waxing through its phases. What about the other task I've set you? Have you found more about the voice? The voice of the blood? The fringe group of radical eugenicist anarchs who keep turning up when I look into the sources for blood and harvesting. Tomas once called them a hop and a skip from Sabbat, whatever that means, but I do know they're dangerous. Before Tomas took me in, I'd run odd jobs for a few anarchs, including this one guy, Liderk, until I cut him out of a couple deals and he caught me at it. Almost killed me. As it turns out, good old Liderk isn't quite a member of the Voice, but he has connections to one of their cells, and I have connections to him. I'm pretty sure it's the main reason Tomas keeps me around. But before I answer him, I have a question of my own about all this. I ask, directly. I do know a few things. I've been working on it like a good little duskborn. I've always got to prove my worth to the full-bloods. Tomas protects me from Liderk and his friends. He even teaches me when the mood takes him. But I sometimes wonder if that's only to make me more useful to him. Sometimes I wonder if this is all my life will ever be. I already told you everything I knew about Liderk's business when you picked me up, and you just asked me to take what I know out to find out more. Is that how it'll always be? You always wanting more, no matter how much I give you? He's nice enough for a Camarilla full-blood, but I still brace after asking that. I clench my jaw. Tomas watches me a moment in silence before surprising me, giving his hoarse caw of a laugh. You think I'm using you, is that it, Florian? I am, of course. I make no secret of that. I stare at him, mouth open. At least he's being honest. It's what kindred do. We're predators, but outside of some gangrel, not usually the kind who run in packs. The only way we have society at all is by building a web of favors and debts. Everyone knows each other. Everyone uses each other. You use me right back, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much true. Of course I do. He has no idea what my life is like. Always stuck somewhere halfway in between. I can walk in the sun, the beast inside me never breaks free to rampage, but I still have to drink blood to survive. I'm still not human and I can never be again, and his kind hates me. If Tomas is able to offer me any protection at all, I'll do whatever I have to ensure he continues. I owe everything I have, and I can never forget that, but you do a lot for me too. Of course, I'm using that. The night we met, he saved my life, and no full-blooded vampire ever does with any favor without calling it in the fee for it later. I can speak, totally. But working for him isn't anywhere as bad as dying in an alley, so yes, I do what I must. Oh, Florian, you're more a vampire than you ever give yourself credit for being. It's symbiotic. You use you use me, we both get what we need. He sounds amused more than anything, maybe even pleased with me for admitting it. You don't even sound upset with the idea, me using you. Tomas laughs again and shakes his head. Why would I be upset? Let me confirm this for you. Florian, all kindred use each other. Expect it, and you'll never be disappointed. And any lick who tells you they're not using you is lying, and you really have to ask yourself, why? And what is it they really want from you? Very well, so it's a small matter of withholding what I know to prolong my usefulness, or ensuring that he keeps me by proving I can do what he wants of me. I give Tomas the information. I am using him, and I'll continue to do it for as long as I can, so I have to keep proving I'm worth his time and resources. He may have originally taken me in because of Liderk, but maybe if I do well enough with this, there'll be another job for me in the afterward. I followed one of Lydic's couriers to meet up and caught some of what they said. Got another name from it. Vedlani. Vedlani? I can't speak these words. I apologize for how badly I speak them. And follow up on that is what led me to Sven Rokas. The voice keeps popping up whenever I look into the black market blood trade. Moss drums his fingers on the desktop, the claws making little thunks in the wood. Then he nods once. Vedlani and Sven Rokas Hospital. I will look into it. Keep at this, Florian. He seems pleased. I relax. He'll probably dismiss me soon. It is interesting, though. Sven Rokas is not in Buda, yet you cross the Danube so very often. Or not. His tone is mild, but I can tell he's probing. His eyes have that keen glint. I should know better than to try to keep secrets from a Nosferatu, but I managed it before. Tell him about William. Nosferatu loves secrets. If I give him Tomas a nice big one, he might help prove my usefulness. William has been nice to me, but he's an independent. I doubt he can protect me like Tomas can. No, I go to Buda because I have a friend there. He helped me out once when I was starving, and I visit him some nights. He's nice enough, but a little strange. We've talked for hours, but William sometimes seems so distant and uninvolved that I couldn't say how he feels about me. I don't even know why he helped me that night we met. A friend, kindred, I presume, and what is his name? Is he Camarilla? I was right, he seems interested. His focus sharp. I'd not an answer. Yes, he's a Toreador, I think. I don't think he was with the Camarilla, but he's not an anarch or anything. Don't worry, Atarkis, he said once. I don't know what that means, but he's not connected to any of this, just someone I know. Tomas leans forward, eyes glinting in the half-light. Half an answer, Florian. I won't try to forbid your friendship, but ask yourself who it is he answers to and why he's interested in you. The Atarkis are unaligned. They have no allies and no protection, and no rules. Be wary of a solitary predator. They're usually trying to hide something. Thinking about how maddeningly composed and closed off William is, I feel a touch of disquiet. Tomas watches me for a moment and then smiles and leans back. Continue your work on the voice, then. Now, is there anything else tonight? I consider. There is something I need if I want to hold on to what few benefits I get from being even halfway a vampire. A taste of Tomas's vitae, so I can keep using my bloodborne disciplines, which make my nights a little easier. Asking is awkward, and I hate being even more indebted, but I can't put it off anymore. One way or another, I need it. Let's be direct. I don't want to be, beating around the bush. A Nosferatu would appreciate the directness, I think. If they're used to dealing with Toreadors who are just toying around with them a lot. Be direct. Awkward or not, there's no point in beating around the bush. He knows my reasons, so I just come right out and ask. I need more of your blood. I'll never be as good as you at this playing trick, but being able to hide more effectively would be helpful for the voice job. Tomas chuckles warmly, surprising me. I wondered how long it would take before you asked me again. Your restraint is admirable. It's easy to become addicted to vitae. Blood leeches are pitiful wretches, if dangerous ones. But moderation in all things, even in moderation, yes. When you need it, just ask me. He rolls up his sleeve. Fetch me a cup from the sideboard, would you? I retrieved the cup and set it in front of him. I wonder why he doesn't ask me to drink right from his wrist. In fact, he's never asked me to. Never tried to take advantage of my potential ignorance of blood bonds. Tomas bites open his own wrist and drips vitae, thick as syrup, into this cup. I can smell it, and my fangs ache in my jaw. He's right, that I could get hooked all too easily. He hands me the cup. I drink. Sweeter than honey, richer than wine. Tomas's vitae slides down my throat, and something inside me responds to it. The blood welcoming this new infusion. But I don't know what my face looks like, but Tomas smiles indulgently. Do you need help feeding now, to make better use of that? I shake my head. No, I can handle it, thank you. When I leave Tomas's lair, I descend several sets of stairs and emerge into a humid tunnel. I exit through a public toilet in the Kaleti station, where the green and red lines of the underground intersect. He does look kinda cool for a Nosferatu. Calling him an owl is correct. As to why I would cross the Danube again, well, thin blood learns early on that it's better not to lay all your faith at the feet of a single altar. Tonight I sit in William's living room on a frankly unimpressive sofa covered by a quilt. The entirety of his apartment is forgettable except for the paintings that hang on every wall. He moves about gathering pastel oils and setting them in a box. I look at him. Always pallid, never bothering to flush his cheeks with blood, dark circles under his eyes, which make him look very ill, sleep-deprived or heavily drugged. In other words, just shy of dead. I should be forthcoming with you. I startle at his sudden address. He's barely even looking my way. I keep silent and let him talk. Expectantly, I watch him arrange the oils on the box. If I let him ramble, perhaps he'll say more. Though I was part of the Camarilla, my current situation as an independent has taught me much about navigating the waters between Camarilla and other factions. I believe you would know how this feels. So let us say that I listened to what a Malkavian friend of mine had to say, enough hints to learn that a certain man called Ledurk would really enjoy getting his hands on a thin blood called Florian. I've known this for a little while. As he speaks, a cold weight settles in my gut. I glance quickly toward the window as if my anarch pursuers are right outside the thin curtain. I ask what he plans to do with this information. And what will you do with your knowledge of my secrets? He leans against the table, his hands on the edge. The same that I've done thus far. Nothing. Another blessing. All his blessings are providential, so either my luck must run out, or my trust. Nothing. I repeat with the faintest note of skepticism. He catches it, and his returning smile is just as faint. Staying away from Camarilla power games and other trappings of bureaucracy, if I can avoid it, is good for the soul. The same goes for the various anarch factions in a different way. I have no interest in it. So, you play fast and loose with the rules. He shrugs minutely. You can put it that way. Then again, so does Mr. Vague. I stare at him and almost human despite his looks, he sighs. If it's any consolation to you, that one was much harder to figure out. I wet my lips, take off my shoes, and tuck my feet under me as I lie against the sofa. In the silence, William tilts his head as if to reframe me. Going to his cupboard, he takes out a pencil and one of his sketchbooks. The sofa whines under his weight, and he sits at the other end facing me, wielding the pencil at an angle, his wrist held just so. This is the third time he has drawn me in black and white. I ask him about himself to even the score. Working with Ledurk's anarchs and for Tomas afterwards has taught me the value of information. Maybe they will forever prevent me from playing their games at the same level they do, but trying doesn't hurt, and maybe I want to know William a little better. The pencil scratches the paper rhythmically. I can imagine myself playing piano in this room, as this man fills his pages with my face. His mold green eyes flicker up and down, searching and capturing my features to transfer them to his art. I am always filtered through a full-blood's gaze. In this case, at the very least, it's pleasant. He never told me whose domain this is. I only realize he has stopped breathing entirely when I see him deliberately inhale, presumably so he can speak. It belongs to a rather influential clanmate of mine. She's partly to be thanked for the fashionable renaissance of the Bartok Bella Boulevard in Uzabuda, and I believe was trying to do the same here. Residents aren't very keen on the idea, though. Where does he come from? But originally? A pause. He fills in the shadows with a small movement of the pencil. Yes? You aren't Hungarian, right? No, of course not. I'm British. I used to live in London a long while ago. I haven't quite had the chance to return, not that it's an option these days. I shift carefully on the sofa, turning to look at a landscape of green rolling hills, its frame unable to rival the beauty of the painting. William says nothing of my change in position. He hardly ever protests such minutiae. I can easily imagine that landscape on the wall of a London townhouse in the past century. Do you miss that life, or unlife, I suppose? In England, no. Either way, I don't. That was not a lot. He still speaks of his vampirism in a very blasé manner, the thread that has often resurfaced since the night of our first meeting. When I took his hand on the fateful night of our first meeting, he was icy cold. I thought little of the moment, too distracted by the pangs of hunger, but it has remained consistent, although in the long months of our acquaintanceship, his hands are always cold. I regard him carefully. I see. I remain silent for a long moment. I can probe for more. Perhaps I can see if I can startle him for something more of a reaction from him. I ask if undeath doesn't bother him. I don't want to tell him when I could walk in the sun. I don't want to say that. I ask if undeath doesn't bother him. Does undeath not bother you at all? No, it doesn't. But it's a state of being, a path to walk, no worse or better than mortality. I furrow my brows. And what of the monster that lives in you? Doesn't it rampage? Does that not bother you? He glances up from his sketch. It makes it sound as if the monster were something other than myself, which is not the case. And besides, anything that is kept suppressed for too long will burst forth sooner or later. I'm curious. From what other full-bloods have said around me when they forget I'm not just furniture, William's clan is supposed to be particularly prone to being morose, agonizing over their bestial nature. Really? I guess. Either that was bullshit or he's one of the few exceptions. His life before and after Embrace, despite what little he has told of me, remains mostly unknown to me. What led him to this? I chase away the need to inquire beyond my welcome. Instead, I press my lips together tightly. Do you have answers for everything? That makes him snort softly. I have answers for myself, hard-earned from my London days. If they work for you, I wouldn't know. I'm not a preacher. Nonetheless, he must have been in this world for a while for him to feel as if he has it all figured out. I tilt my head. England, London, a long while ago. How old are you, anyway? Old enough to know a not insignificant number of people owe some of them and be owed in return. Old enough that most leave me in peace. I've been told before not to use the word vampires. They are kindred. They are licks, and I am whatever insult or description they use on a given night. But I've never heard any of them self-refer to as people. William flexes his fingers elegantly, sets the pencil down in his lap, and turns the sketchbook around as he hands it to me. I take it. Our fingers touch as always, his are cold. The sketch is not, however. It is as if graphite had been caressing me, my skittish posture, but my eyes so keen. It sees me with uncanny beauty. When I finally leave, out in the quiet streets, humidity sets on my skin. I look up in the full moon, pale as William's face, and think of blood. I look at the prints. My muscles are aching from tension, my stomach heavy. I weigh my head and the two choices laid before me. Tomas and William have both been kind enough to me, each in his way. They have both helped me, each for his reasons. Tomas is open about what he wants from me. He's using me. He protects me, too. William's motives are far less certain, as the value of my protection of any protection he could give. Perhaps he has some kind of feeling for me. Perhaps he knows every single thing I've thought this entire game. But in the end, there's only one choice I can make. I see. Oh, this is a hard choice. Oh man. Oh man. Oh dude. Oh man. Oh man. Oh dude. Do I go for the unknown, Toreador, or the direct, Nosferatu? Okay. Man, this is so hard. I think just because I know everything that he wants from me, I think he's a better choice. He's a devil I know kind of situation. I don't know this guy at all. Like maybe I am just a friend to him. Maybe that's all that I am to him. But I don't know that for sure. I really don't. I choose Tomas. I look at Tomas, insouciant, confident, thinking himself in control of the situation. He gives no hint of nerves as he stands waiting. He is in control, though. As aggravating as I sometimes find him, he deserves his peacock's pride. William's voice breaks again into my thoughts, and I suppress a shiver. Florian? I remain silent. I do not look at him. After a moment's pause, I hear his voice one final time. Fair enough. As you wish, then. Just say nothing of me speaking to you this way tonight. I turned my gaze back to the prince. I choose life, your majesty, and the crescent moon. I will accept this man as my guardian, and abide by Camarilla's wishes and his. The careful humility of my tone makes me ashamed of myself. But this is pragmatism. Tomas's greatest lesson to me. I must survive, and sentiment is not what will keep me breathing. I chose Tomas and his protection months ago. Tonight I just chose it officially. Tomas looks at me with smiles and satisfaction. On the other side of the room, William sits silent and straight-backed. God only knows what he's thinking, for I surely never will. Prince Anastasia inclines her head to me slightly, then turns to Tomas. Very well then, Mr. Vey. The thin-blood Florian Mayer is now yours. Follow Mr. Korvax to the other room. The man with a trimmed beard and air of satisfied dignity stands and smooths down his suit jacket. He gives Tomas a nod. My pleasure, your majesty. Now come. We will have all this sorted in no time. The Scourge grabs me by the shoulder. She manhandles me away with surprising ease. At least there isn't an audience here. The Scourge is at my back. I can imagine her claws on my throat all too easily. I do not resist, nor try to run. I already rejected their so-called clemency, so I do not think my death would be quite as quick now. One way or another, they want me to hurt. The chamber they take me to is empty. Is empty but for a stranger and a chair. I look at the chair. So mundane and commonplace that it's somehow more horrifying than a more esoteric torture device would be. And the chair could be found at any tattoo joint or hell, a dentist's office. Except for the leather straps at wrist and ankle, of course. We look at the stranger. He's as unremarkable as the chair. You wouldn't pass him on the street and know he's a monster. He picks up a sharp silver tool, and his tone is bored when he addresses the man who is now my guardian. Where do you want it? Hand? Temple? Somewhere else? It has to be visible. Panic seizes me. My heartbeat quickens. There's some magic I don't understand. The Crescent Moon thin blood brand never fully heals. If they mark my hands, how will I play piano? I speak up. Camarilla claims this brand is for my protection. If that's even halfway true, maybe they'll grant me this one request and not take my art away when they take what little illusion of freedom I had left. Please, not the hands. I look at my guardian. Tomas gives me a look regarding me for a long silent moment, as if assessing me. The nape of the neck. I breathe out in private relief. With quick efficiency, I'm strapped in the chair, face down. As they unfold it, I am prone and spread-eagled. I've never felt so vulnerable. The pain, when it comes, is nothing I could have imagined. It's like a bleeding silver on the sun itself. I slip beneath my skin to burn there forever. I scream until my voice breaks, but as a sharp silver tool pares back my flesh, I discover that I am not human enough to pass out. Another mercy denied me. Ugh. Tomas leads the way into a confusing labyrinth of concrete staircases and dimly lit access tunnels beneath the palace. Eventually, these passageways will connect up with the underground and near the major junction of Kelady Station, where he claims a rich domain. I trail behind him, hurting and uncertain. Too many questions jam my brain. What will happen when my investigation of the voice of the blood now? Will Tomas still have work for me? How had the Camarilla found out about me in the first place? Someone must have told him, but who and why? Okay, I see. So I guess what's been happening up before now was that he was a thin blood that Thomas had basically employed, but he wasn't part of the Camarilla officially. But now he is. We, the thin blood, are now officially part of the Camarilla because they found out about me and have branded me. Was it Tomas? It could have been. If Tomas felt that his control of us was slipping, he might have told the Camarilla about us, knowing that we would have to choose something. What must be William thinking? He'd only tried to be a friend and I rejected him. I've lost that friendship, I suppose. Well, what will he do with me now? Nosferatu doesn't look happy. I suppose I know why. There had been reasons, after all. He'd been breaking a Camarilla ruse to keep me unbranded and unknown. Okay, so I was right. I doubt those reasons were altruistic ones. We both do what must. We both understand survival. Out of all my possible questions, one rises to the top. Are you going to be blood bond me now? Tomas laughs hoarsely and his eyes shine and he looks back at me, uncanny in the half-darkness. I have more important kindred than you to keep safely bonded, Florian. And now you aren't even as useful to me as you were before. Oh. Okay. I can still be useful. Tomas turns away, shoulders hunched under his jacket like mantled wings. You will be. No matter. You learned a lesson tonight and can still be useful. The tunnels are cold and dank, though frequently used. Droplets of humidity run down the walls, following dark stripes of old paths of mildew, and our step followed traces of many other pairs of shoes. The waning crescent moon carved into my skin throbs and aches. I suppose it always will. There is a whole other world hidden beneath the city, one I never even suspected might exist before becoming half a monster and being dragged into the darkness. I'm only half part of this world too, but there's no longer any way to escape it. I've made my choices and now I have to live with them. And... oh, so this is my... that's the end. Wow, okay. Interesting. Interesting. I'm kind of want to see what I do if I take the opposite choices now, actually.